Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Read With Me, and I'm your host, Kelley Michelle. And on this channel, we focus on reading together separately. So we read together the same book, the same month, and our goal is to complete 12 books per year. And we just finished our inaugural book, Atomic Habits, January of this year, 2026. And in this recording, I am focusing on introducing our book for February. So, a round of applause. Here we go. This is our book for February. The title is The Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose. So this is really exciting to me because we're going to switch gears a little bit. Atomic Habits was really focused on self-development, and we learned how to form new habits, some habits that we need to break, and techniques on how to maintain our habits. And this book is a fiction book, so it's totally about having an engaging story. And let me tell you, I am very excited to dive into this book. And this will be something new and different. I mean, we're only on our second book, but I do plan on having the same format, which is uploading videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we're just gonna be reading this book together separately. So the title of the book, as I said, was The Perfect Marriage, and the cover says, "His mistress is dead. His wife is his only hope." And this is also a New York Times best-selling author. And I'm really excited to get into this book. So as I always like to start, I give you a little bit of history as to why I chose this book. And I actually chose this book because I also am in charge of, or I lead a book club. So our book club is actually reading this book, and I thought that instead of having a different book in this YouTube channel versus what we're reading in book club, that we would read the same book. And so one of the things that I really enjoy doing is listening to fiction books on audio. And I actually listened to this book on audio, and it was so good. I thought that it had, a lot of twists and turns to it. It had a great storyline to it, and I wanted to read this in book club. And so since we're doing a virtual book club together, I thought that this would be a great book for us to read as well together. So that's why I picked this book. I always give you a summary of just the highlights of the book, as far as how many pages there are, how many chapters, etc. So the book is 340 pages, so it is a pretty dense book. However, like I said in my previous videos, I always try to choose books that are easy read. So this is a pretty easy read, and because it's such a good story, in my personal opinion, it was a page turner for me. So it did not take me very long to read this book at all. And also too, this is a two-parter book. Like, you can read one independently of the other. However, there is a sequel to this book, and the sequel is titled The Perfect Divorce. And so at the end of this book, they have the first, 2 or 3 chapters just as a preview for you to read The Perfect Divorce, which, like I said, is a sequel to this book. So again, the book is 340 pages and it's 64 chapters. And so my goal will be in each video to cover about 6 chapters per video. And like I said, or like I've done when we were going over Atomic Habits, I share a few thoughts. I really want to be cautious, and this will be a new experience this whole thing is a new experience for us, but specifically this fiction book is going to be a new experience because I have to figure out exactly how I want to share my thoughts about this book. With Atomic Habits, it was, very concrete, but I want to be cautious not to give the storyline away or for me to go too in depth. So we'll see how it goes. This is our first fiction book, and I will be covering, like I said, about 6 chapters per post. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to dive into this book. Like I said, I listened to the audio version of this book, and let me tell you, it is definitely a good listen, and there's going to be so much going on. The whole time I was listening to the book, I was just trying to figure out and put the puzzle pieces together. So we're going to try to put these puzzle pieces together as we read this book. We already know that someone died. So from the cover, the mistress has died, but so I am so very excited to uncover all the twists and turns of this book together with you. So before I end this video, I always encourage you with 2 things. One is to read, and my encouragement is to read 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes every day. In this particular case, when we're reading this book, this is to help us maybe to escape. To be able to read a good story, to be able to connect with characters. So when I'm encouraging to read this time, it's really not necessarily to discover new information, but it's more just for you to be able to enjoy a good story other than watching, a television program or watching a movie, but to be able to immerse yourself in a good story by reading a book. And then secondly, I always encourage you to take notes, and it's your choice. If you would like to take notes on this book just to be able to follow along with the different characters, that's fine. And if you don't want to take notes, that's fine as well. So I do just want to encourage you to read. That's the main point, is to read every single day. If you are really enjoying this channel, I encourage you to add comments, especially as we're reading through this book. I really want to hear from you, and I want to see your comments on what you think is going on and all the plots, twists and turns, and all the different characters, to get your feedback. So please add comments. And if you're enjoying this channel, please like, share, subscribe, and comment, as I just mentioned. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me of reading together separately. I am beyond excited that we have finished our first book in January, Atomic Habits, and now we're moving on to our first fiction book, which is The Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose. Thank you for your time, and as I end every segment, until next time, happy reading.